Welcome to the Complete Stories series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to allow you to understand the stories of your favorite pop culture icons, from the movies, the video games, and of course, the comic books. We then read it dramatically back to you, adding in some music, removing the text to give you a motion comic appearance, and I get to pretend I know how to voice act. It's a lot of fun for me. Today we're going to be continuing our storyline of Venom, with the Web of Venom Venom storyline. It's a single storyline issue telling you about the symbiotes in the Vietnam War as they battled against Wolverine, Nick Fury, and Rex Strickland. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoy this origin story of Rex Strickland. March 5th, 1966, 0250 hours. It all started with a firefight. A soldier and his platoon made contact with the Viet Cong, and they suffered massive losses. They fought for what felt like hours, slowly losing one man after another. And then, the shadows. They started to move. Things began to dart back and forth like sharks swimming in the jungle. The shooting stopped. The screaming began. The surviving members of the platoon went on ahead to see what had happened. And 2 hours later, a soldier finally gets the spine to take a look for himself. The jungle has gone quiet. There's no birds, there's no bugs, there's nothing. And when the soldier pushes aside the vines to look into the clearing, that's when he sees it. Something sitting on top of a mound of bodies, eating them. Just then, another one of those things jumps out of the bushes, grabbing the soldier. But that thing was wearing their uniform. The creature said something in a strange language, and then it opened up its mouth, and all you could hear is the soldier's scream. A few weeks prior, along the border of Scandinavia, Nick Fury responded to a report of erratic seismic activity. Normally, this would be something that he would look into, but they believed that it might have something to do with Hydra. But what they found wasn't Hydra. It was a damned dragon. Scientists extracted a sample only to find that what they thought was an ancient being was, in fact, something alien. And to their astonishment, it was alive. Next came the experiments on live subjects to gauge its effects, and they discovered that the alien was symbiotic in origin, latching onto its host. When the alien was introduced to a group of lab rats, well, the eggheads found that there were certain unforeseen results. The next step would be to move on from the lab rats to the human subjects. And despite what people may think, they're not monsters for doing it. It also wasn't exactly his call to make them not do it. S.H.I.E.L.D. is, after all, still beholden to the wills of certain officials. The men, they were chosen for the Sim Soldier program, and they were hand-selected, and they were going to be led by Rex Strickland, codenamed the Tyrannosaurus. The Sim soldiers were deployed 4 months ago in South Vietnam after learning of a weapons depot by a man who thought himself to be a future Viet Cong war hero. They wiped him off the face of the planet, along with an entire company of soldiers. And a voice asks Fury what's wrong with this, and Fury tells the man that the company that these soldiers killed was their soldiers. Something went wrong. Their Sim soldiers, their monsters, are off the leash. The man asks what would they have him do, and Fury says that he was hoping that he could appeal to his sense of patriotism. The man laughs and says, "No dice, bub. I'm Canadian." Fury tells Logan that they need his help. He knows the terrain better than anyone else that he's ever, but Logan stops him and tells him, "You need to put these things down." And Fury asks, "What is the problem?" And Logan says, "Nothing. It's just, you discover that life exists on other planets and the first thing you do is send them to war? What the hell kind of thing is that?" Fury doesn't respond. And Logan asks, "This is the first time that you've discovered alien life, right, bub?" Fury ignores the question, telling him that they have a chopper waiting to take them out in the morning. They'll be taking care of things themselves. The next morning, they fly out into the jungle and they begin their search. And Logan goes on asking, "How are we supposed to find these men? My tracking is good and all, but you want me to track 5 killers in a country with this much death and blood? Ain't no one that good." Fury tells him that he wouldn't be able to track them if he tried. These men can camouflage themselves and blend into the area. They implanted explosive kill switch equipped with tracking devices into the back of their neck so that they could locate them if needed. And even if they didn't, it wouldn't be hard to find their trail. Logan looks at the half-eaten body scattered around and he tells him, "There isn't much left, is there? Can't even tell which side they're on." Logan then asks, "If they have kill switches, why haven't you just pulled the trigger?" Fury says they can't, not while in enemy territory. The things that these men are wearing are alive. If the men are inside, the alien will seek a new host, and if... Logan tells him, yeah. If Charlie gets his hand on one of them, it's a bad day for everyone. But as Logan sifts through the bodies, he finds a small device, and Fury says, that's the kill switch. They dug it out of their own necks. Logan hands it over, telling him, just what the hell are we dealing with? But just then, Logan senses something. The two of them spin around and they see Rex Strickland stumbling out of the bushes with his hands up, stating, please, don't shoot! Fury looks at Rex and asks, where's your suit? Where are the others? Rex tells him that the suit just left him, but his men, they couldn't control the alien. They were screaming in their minds in some kind of other language. They couldn't understand it and they just blacked out. And when they woke up, they found that there were. Rex looks around at the mutilated bodies and he says, oh God, what have we done? Fury tells Rex to relax and take a breath. Can he tell them why they turned? And just then another voice yells, get away from it! It ain't me! Everyone turns back to see another Rex Strickland running out of the woods holding a flamethrower. And they turn back to the original Rex, but it changes into a symbiote. Fury and Logan begin to fire at that creature, and the creature reaches behind Rex, punching a hole into a fuel tanker. Logan runs towards him, knocking the tank over just as it explodes, shielding Rex from the blast. Part of the blast burns Rex's face, but he gets up, stating, you just saved my life. Are you gonna be okay? Logan sits up, telling him, I'll be fine, just give me a few. His body begins to heal itself, and Rex asks, what the hell are you? Fury begins to look around, asking where did it go, but that's when he feels something drop onto his arm. Everyone looks up to see the missing soldiers crawling down from the trees, and Logan yells for Rex to run! Rex hesitates for a second, but then he hurries up, shouting, I'll come back for you! As the symbiotes swarm around Logan, they begin to try and bond to them all, whispering that strange language into his ear. Fury shouts for Logan, but when Logan answers, he responds speaking the symbiotic language. As Logan lunges for Fury, Rex runs in, grabbing one of the sonic rifles, and he hits Logan, ripping the symbiote off of him. Logan hits the ground, and Rex says they can't leave him. And Logan gets up, telling him, give me the gun. Another of the symbiotes grabs onto Fury, and Rex shouts, wait, we could kill him too! And Logan looks down the sight, stating, yeah, planning on it. Logan pulls the trigger, and the blast knocks the symbiotes back, and Rex asks, why would you do that? As the smoke clears, Logan looks down at Fury and says, they're called LMDs, life model decoys. Fancy word for saying coward. What's the matter, Fury? Not man enough to handle your own mistakes? Meanwhile, elsewhere, Fury's watching on a screen and he tries to explain, but Logan yells, just save it. I bonded with one of those damn things. I know you were still experimenting. You want to tell me what's really going on here, bub? The LMD begins to speak, but Fury says, we couldn't have known. When we discovered that it was alive, Logan shouts, stating, you tried to figure out a way to kill it. Fury goes on, stating that they had to. They had to know if they could hurt it, if they were going to risk unleashing it into this war. They couldn't have known that it shared a hive mind the way that they do. They didn't know that it would drive the soldiers insane, and they didn't know that its spawn would feel the pain of the original. Logan tells him, you put something in a cage and you poked it until it broke, and then you're surprised when it came back to bite you. Is that why you thought of me for this? One animal against another? Fury tells him, we needed this cleaned up quietly. You know the score. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry that it had to end this way. Just then the eye of the L&D turns red and it shows a countdown. Rex begins to panic, asking what does it mean, and Logan tells him, detonation. If this thing is meant to clean this all up, there's no point in running. Logan looks back at the symbiotes, telling them, don't worry though. We probably won't last much longer anyway. As the countdown begins, the symbiotes attack, and one grabs onto Rex and it begins to bond. Rex gets back up, grabbing Logan by the throat, telling him, not animals! And he throws him across the jungle. The bomb explodes and soon everything begins to burn. Elsewhere, Rex says when he woke up, S.H.I.E.L.D. agents found him, and here he is now, and that's all he knows. Fury tells him, you understand what we had to do, right? I would make the same call tomorrow if I thought it would make the world a better place. It ain't pretty, but it's the job. Rex looks at him and tells him, he's just happy to be alive. Fury goes on, telling him as for the physical examination, he came back in good shape. The withdrawal from the suit seems to be minimal, though they can't say the same about the rest of the team. Those things have a fierce hold on them. If they try and separate them now, the men will most likely die. Rex then asks, what do we do now? Fury tells him, we'll put them all on ice until we figure a way out. Rex then says he's not sure if he's allowed to ask, but when they found him, this suit, did they find it yet? Fury tells him no, they haven't, but he has his best man on top of it. He knows these things like the back of his hand. Rex asks who might that be, and Fury throws a S.H.I.E.L.D. badge, telling him, it would be you. You earned it. What do you say? You want to help me hunt down an alien? As Rex's eye glows, he tells him, it would be my honor, sir. And there you have it, Venom fans. We've concluded the Web of Venom. It's Web of Venom, Venom, you get it. Either way, please consider subscribing if you enjoyed our telling of this story, because we do bring you a lot of comic books and video game lore right here at the Comicstorian channel. Next week, we're going to be bringing you Carnage Reborn. He is returned to form to fight against Venom. And I hope you're as excited about that as I am. Don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at Comicstorian and Instagram at Comicstorian. And I'll see you next week right here, Venom fans.